Hi everybody, my name is Kunle Pelemo. You can call me KP. I'm asking you to join me every Friday 5:30 p.m. GMT on the MHAASP Show right here on MZ Radio London. It's a show where we talk about mental health and suicide prevention. Set a reminder for that. And just before I go, I want to let you know I care about your mental health. And you know what? Stick around right here on this station. Don't go nowhere. Stick around right here on this station. Don't go nowhere. Radio London, UK. It's the MHAASP Show with KP, a show where we talk about mental health and suicide prevention. I am your host. Yes, Kunle Pelemo is my name. They call me KP. And whenever I'm here, you know how we do it. You know how we say it. KP in the building. And you know, I'm not alone in the building today. Yes, I'm glad I have a guest in the house. And together we'll be discussing a very, very important topic that will help you in terms of your mental health and in other aspects of your life as well. So you know what you need to do right now. Tell someone who isn't listening yet to go tune in to MZ Radio London, AP Radio UK from wherever they are and enjoy what we have on the show today. So if you're ready, we are ready right now. Let's hit the ground running. Who is my guest today? My guest today is a partnership builder and resilience expert who enjoys finding creative solutions to complex challenges and adapting to rapidly changing environments. She has the capacity to help people find their powers in terms of building resilience during and beyond challenging period. Ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are, welcome to the MHAASP Show. My sister, my friend, a fellow The Kindness Games ambassador, Kehkashan Dadwani. Kay, what's up? How are you?
Oh my God. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. That was an incredible introduction. Thank you so much, Kunle. I'm so excited to be here to talk to you.
Oh, it's always a pleasure talking to you. And on the introduction, I nearly said the kindness games, you know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Overtime.
Overtime. That's what we do. Spreading kindness all over the world, even on the show. That's what we do as well. Spending kindness with mental health related issues right here. And I am so glad your schedule is so tight and you still put us in mind and you find time to come on the show. I can't take that for granted. Thank you so much, Keiki, for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, this topic is so incredibly important. I am a huge advocate of resilience and, taking care of your health, not only your physical health, but your mental health. I just couldn't pass up this opportunity. So seriously, thank you for just inviting me. And I'm really excited to get into the topic today.
Thank you so much, Keiki. So like we are saying right now, we're talking about building resilience during challenging period. Building resilience during challenging period. I mean, looking at what is happening all over the world. Just earlier today, I was talking to a friend of mine who is also a business partner in India, and she was telling me how the pandemic is still ravaging India and everybody is just trying to hold on. It's quite challenging, in every part of the world. Some countries who have a little bit managed the pandemic very well, somehow it has affected their economy. And I mean, it's biting hard on a whole lot of people. So we have challenges here and there. And that is why I feel it's necessary to help people who might be going through one, two, three, or four things and during and then beyond this challenging period. So we're talking about building resilience during challenge.
Awesome.
I want you to give us an overview of what resilience means to you.
Yeah. Resilience means different things to different people, right? Resilience is not a one size fits all. What could be something that brings me resilience is something completely different to what would bring you resilience, right? Like, and when we talk about resilience, the word resilience has been thrown around so much, especially during the pandemic. It's what is resilience, right? Like, resilience is our ability to not only bounce back from challenges, but it's our ability to bounce forward through challenges, right? Like, you can see something that's happening in your life and you'll be like, I'm going through this really hard time. I want to just get back to the place that I was. I see that as like, okay, that's just living life. When you talk about resilience is really about seeing the challenge that you're facing and telling yourself that I'm going to push through this, because when I come out on the other end, I'm going to be much better than I was yesterday. And that's not to say that you're going to endure or that, I'm going to just deal with it. No, like, resilience is about when something bad happens, you have to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge that something bad has happened and that something really difficult is happening in your life. You have to sit in that grossness, right? Like, things are happening. It's not what you want. It's not what you enjoy. But what we do know is life will not be bad all the time. One of my friends used to tell me, the soul would have no rainbow, had the eyes no tears. Right? And I thought that was like so beautiful and poetic. Like, you can't enjoy the better things in life if you haven't had gone through some pain. If you don't know a single person who hasn't gone through pain, man, I want to talk to that person, because I have yet to meet a single person who hasn't had that like mental struggle, right? So for me, resilience is really about the journey of getting through to the other side and being a better version of yourself.
Wow. I mean, that can be more correct. That was happily said by you. That doesn't mean adversity won't come, but your ability to stay strong during that process, is very important. Now, I know the question people will be asking now is, how can they build what we're talking about right in here today, which is resilience? And I am speaking for our audience right now, and I'm throwing that question to you, Katie. So how can we build resilience?
Absolutely. Resilience is a muscle, very much like our body, right? Like, we have to go exercise and eat healthy and do the things that are good for our bodies. It's the same thing with our mind, right? Our mind is something that is so powerful, because the way that we think impacts the way that we act towards ourselves and towards others. And so, much like your body, you have to exercise your mind. You have to think through, that growth mindset. Like, it's not about limiting yourself, but it's about having this feeling of abundance. My life is more than just the bad things that are happening to me. So when I think about, what are the steps that you can take? One is be kind to yourself. Like, sometimes you're going to feel like you're not doing what you needed to do, or, oh my God, the laundry's piling up. I haven't cooked today. I haven't been giving my kids time or my family time, or I'm just not doing enough at work. It doesn't matter. Give yourself the grace. We are all humans, and we all go through these periods of slips and surges where we're either doing really bad or we're doing really good. Just remind yourself that our life is ours to live, and the only way we can live it is the way that we want. So one, give yourself grace. My second thing will be gratitude is huge, right? Like, Kunle, you and I have been doing the kindness games. Like, when I started the kindness games, I was struggling with my mental health a lot. We'd been in a pandemic for over half a year, and things just felt like they were they weren't looking good. And so starting the kindness game, just, spreading that gratitude and sharing the positivity in my life of the impact that people had in my life gave me that such a jolt of adrenaline and just positivity that every day I woke up with a smile on my face, even though the world outside me was it just didn't seem like a positive world. I woke up feeling great because my community was so incredibly amazing, right? Yeah. And so gratitude is a huge part of it. And the third thing I'll say is find yourself a community that's going to support you, because that support is so necessary. When you're feeling down, you need someone to tell you that you're going to make it through. And I know sometimes it's really hard to find those communities. The best thing I can say is there's so many groups out there that you can join. If you need a community to join, come join us in the kindness games. We are always looking for people who can build more kindness in the world and share the positivity with each other. So find yourself a community that's going to support you and tell you you're the baddest human that ever existed on this planet, because let me tell you, you are.
Wow. That's great. That's the 3, Keiki.
Yep. Those are my 3 ones. One is, make sure that you give yourself the grace, be kind to yourself. Second is going to be to make sure that you spread gratitude. And the third is going to be make sure you find yourself a solid community.
Wow. Those are powerful points right there. I know what the kindness game has done to me as well, talking about gratitude, spreading gratitude and then being kind to oneself. I know how that has helped me too, as well as the community that I keep. And I am so glad you're one of my community, and it's so powerful when you have people who are supportive around you. That doesn't mean you won't have issues, you won't have problems, but they're going to stick with you and then pull you through, whatever you are going through, and you are going to come out of it stronger and better. I'm going to allow you to sip some water right now. I'm going to do the same, and we will come back. I'm going to ask you to share an experience with us, personal experience if you have any, and then I'm sure people will learn from that. So let's take a quick break now. When we come back, the MHAASP Show continues. This is the song of All Fields titled Anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
Yeah, All Fields, all 3 beats. I can't live without you. I can't do without you. Bí mo ṣe ń lọ máa bá mi lọ. Bí mo ṣe ń lọ máa bá mi lọ. Bí mo ṣe ń lọ máa bá mi lọ. Bí mo ṣe ń lọ máa. Anywhere I go, 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 please follow me, go. Hey. Anywhere I go, 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 don't leave me alone, my love. Anywhere I go, 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 please follow me, go. Hey. Anywhere
Our music is fertilizer for life. Some things gotta grow. MC Radio London.
Please follow me, go. Hey. Anywhere I go, 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 go.
Here are some words of wisdom. Don't change
Anywhere
your
I go,
station.
I let it one know. Woman, I go because you can set me free. I'm free indeed. On solid rock, that's where I'm standing. If no beef for your word in my life, what would I've been saying right now? Now, no more struggling, no more hustling, no more wrestling. New mentality. I can't live without you. Oh, hey. I can't do without you. Yeah, I cannot breathe without you, Lord. Oh, hey. I can't go without your word. Hey. Anywhere I go, go, go.
MZ Radio London. No one does it better.
MZ Radio London, no one does it better. AP Radio UK station with distinction. Welcome back to the MHAASP Show. This is the second half of the show. If you're just joining us, we've been talking about building resilience during challenging period, and my guest has been the one and only Kehkashan Dadwani. Before we went on the break, I said we're going to talk about maybe you have a personal experience you need to share as we, begin to wind down on the show. Keiki, over to you.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for giving me this space. I think one of the most challenging times in my life was when I was 11. My family decided that we were going to pick up our entire lives from Pakistan, which is where I was born, and move to the United States. So my family of my 2 parents and my 3 sisters, we just all picked up our lives and moved across the pond to this completely brand new place where I didn't know the people, I didn't know the language, I didn't know the culture. I was this little kid who just, I couldn't understand where I'd shown up. And so that in itself was a huge struggle. But I think the hardest part of it was assimilating through my teenage years, my adult years, and then getting into that corporate environment, right? Like my background and my experience is so different from everyone else around me. And for the longest time, I just struggled as a human being of who I was and what was my purpose. Did I belong in this society and in this environment? And was I good enough? Was I good enough as these people whose, parents and their grandparents and their great-grandparents, they all lived here and they were successful. And, did I deserve to have this voice? And for the longest time, I struggled with that impostor syndrome, right? Like, I think that impostor syndrome adds so much to our mental anguish of, who am I? Do I deserve to be in this space? And honestly, I struggled with it for such a long time. I finally went and got therapy, which is where I got into my work in resilience, because I think a lot of times those of us who are experts within this mental health resilience space, we have struggles of our own. And so I told myself that it was strong of me to address this elephant in the room of my personality and my being and who I was. And it took several years for me to kind of get through that pain of questioning my reality and my existence, and getting kind of sometimes shamed by others who didn't think that therapy was the right way to go. Like, it's just, but outside of the GSD and the kindness games, I work in the security industry. And so in the security industry, it's so hard to talk about mental health. And I did it for myself. I did it because I knew that I needed the help to get to the right place and to get into the right mindset, so that I could show up as my best self, right? I could show up knowing that I'd done the work and that no one else could tell me that I wasn't good enough or that I didn't belong here, because I had asked myself the question over and over again of, what is my purpose here? What am I doing here? How am I helping others? And what I realized was, because of my experiences, because of the past, and because of the struggles that I went through, I deserve to be here just as much as anyone else. I have the experience, I have the knowledge, I have the credentials, and there's no one else that can dole out the hate, right? There's so many haters out there sometimes. I think a lot of people, when they start to work on themselves, the haters just come out of the woodworks, and you have to just say no. I'm not going to be influenced by you or what you say, because I am influenced by myself and the mentality that I have. And that has been one of the purest experiences in my life. And, you know, it's something that I still work through every day. I still have my mental struggles. I still have that imposter syndrome, but, you know, I have the skill sets and the tools necessary to get myself out of it and work through any challenge that I'm faced with.
Wow. I mean, this is powerful. I mean, talking about you taking a personal decision, and I'm sure someone out there is learning from that. It's about you taking a personal decision because it's about your life. You know, it's not about what people say. You know, just like you said, taking the influence your own personal life, not about what the haters, you know, what they talk about. There are definitely going to be haters. There are definitely going to be naysayers. But it's your duty not to listen to them, to take action by yourself and take your life to the next level and do whatever you need to do. And I really commend you for sharing your story with us. Thank you so much, Kiki. And it's been wonderful. I'm learning even personally, you know, just you going through how, you know, how you went from one particular location to another. And, you know, somehow the integration process is huge. And sometimes it's kind of overwhelming, you know. So, and I'm glad you're sharing the story. I mean, from the positive point of view right now. Yeah. Before we close the show now, I will want you to tell us basically some of the projects you're doing or personal stuff that you're doing, and then how people can reach you, because that's also what we do for our guests right here. So,
absolutely. Kunle, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. I have had such a blast talking to you. Resilience is a personal passion for me. It's something that I'm just, I don't know. I think everyone needs to have an advocate for mental health. So if you need someone to give you permission, hey, I give you permission to say, hey, I either don't feel okay or I need to go out and find myself the right space of mind to be able to work on the things I need to work on. Now, in terms of some of the personal stuff, as you know, myself and Tim Wenzel, we run a podcast called The Real Kindness Games. It's really easy to be kind to those that we know. It's a lot harder to be kinder to those who we may not know or those who we don't necessarily align with. So our podcast, kind of deals with those conversations. So I encourage, those of you who are listening to come check out our show. Another podcast that I run is called Let's Get Real. It's with Kathleen Ferris and Kelsey Carnell. And we talk about the struggles of the underrepresented in the workplace. Some of us, like I personally am a first generation immigrant. I didn't have any guidance on how to enter the workplace. So I worked through a lot of challenging situations when I first started. So in our podcast, we talk about, some lessons learned and some things that you can do to avoid some of the challenges that we faced. And, obviously we've got the kindness games, which is amazing. I encourage every one of you to join. It is it is so much fun. Like I had such a blast. I met people that I met Kunle because of the kindness games. Like I would have not met you or the other 30 people who are like now in my sphere of influence that I would have never gotten to engage with. And then the very final thing that I'm a part of right now is called the GSD, Getting Security Done crew. Yeah. We're really just focused on changing the security industry. There's a lot going out there. The world is changing around us and the industry has to change with it. So we work to make huge impact with limited resources. So it's a different environment. It's definitely a whole lot of fun. For those of you who are interested in reaching out to me, please find me on LinkedIn. It's my name is Kehkashan Dadwani, as you may have seen on the flyer. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can also, if you want to email me, you can email me at kdadwani@gmail.com, and I will be sure to get back to you. I'd love to hear from you guys and just tell me about some of the mental health struggles that you've been facing. We can heal together, and that's all I've got, Kunle. Thank you so much. Oh, and remember, May. I know it's it's end of April. May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
So please, take that opportunity to learn more.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kehkashan. I really, really appreciate. Now, earlier today, when Coach Kathleen Farry saw the poster or the flyer, she sent me a voice note on WhatsApp and hailed me. Oh, it's you that's coming on the show today. So glad you're here. So glad you're here. And I'm sure if we call one more time, sometime you definitely will heed our call. Is that a yes?
100%. 100%. I will absolutely be back.
Thank you so much, Kiki. I really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who is listening out there. It's been a wonderful show. We've been talking about building resilience in challenging periods. This material will be available on YouTube.